Deep in the pine-covered Black Hills of South Dakota, a whole mountain is slowly becoming a sculpture. Out of the pale granite, the enormous face of a warrior gazes across his homeland, and behind him, the rough shape of a horse and a great outstretched arm still wait to be freed from solid rock. It is one of the largest works of sculpture ever attempted, begun more than 70 years ago and still unfinished, a monument growing grain by grain in honor of a people and their heroes. Welcome to the Crazy Horse Memorial. We are in the Black Hills of western South Dakota, near the small town of Custer, in a rugged island of granite peaks and dark pine forest rising out of the northern plains. Just a few miles away stands the more famous carving of Mount Rushmore, but here, on a mountain called Thunderhead, an even greater work is underway. These hills are sacred ground to the Lakota people, and it is here that a memorial to one of their most revered leaders is being cut from the living rock. Rising above the forest is the memorial itself, a vast wall of granite with the shape of a mounted warrior slowly emerging from it. When it is finished, it is planned to be one of the largest sculptures in the world, so immense that the 4 giant heads of nearby Mount Rushmore could fit within the space of the warrior's head alone. For now much of it remains raw mountain, the outline blasted and roughed into the stone, a work so large that it is measured not in years but in generations. The Black Hills that cradle the carving are unlike anything around them. Dark with ponderosa pine, ribbed with granite spires and hidden canyons, they rise like an island above the surrounding grasslands. To the Lakota, these hills are the heart of their world, a sacred and beloved land at the center of their history. It is fitting that a memorial meant to honor their greatest leader should be raised here, among the stone and forest his people have always held holy. The mountain is being carved in honor of Crazy Horse, the revered Oglala Lakota war leader. In the 1800s, as the plains were overrun and his people were pressed onto ever smaller lands, he became one of the most respected defenders of the Lakota way of life, known for his courage, his skill, and his refusal to give up his homeland. He remains a towering figure of Native American history, remembered not for conquest but for his devotion to his people and their freedom. The idea for the memorial came from a Lakota elder named Henry Standing Bear. In the 1940s, he looked upon the great carvings being made in these hills and longed for something that would speak for his own people. He reached out to a sculptor with words that have echoed ever since, that the chiefs wished for the white man to know that the red man had great heroes too. It was an invitation not to raise a single statue, but to lift up the memory of an entire people. The sculptor who answered was Korczak Zielkowski. In 1948, he set the first blast into the mountain and began a task that would consume the rest of his life. He worked with little more than his own hands, his ingenuity and his stubborn determination, settling at the foot of the mountain and shaping it year after year. He knew he would never see it finished, yet he vowed to carry it as far as he could, and to leave behind the plans and the family who would carry it further still. The scale of what he began is almost beyond imagining. The finished carving is planned to show Crazy Horse seated upon his horse, his figure stretching hundreds of feet across the mountain, with the warrior's head alone standing many stories tall. Where Mount Rushmore shows only faces, this monument is meant to show the whole man and his mount, carved fully out of the rock in the round. It is a sculpture conceived on the scale of the mountain itself. One feature gives the whole design its meaning, the warrior's outstretched arm reaching across his homeland. The great pointing arm answers an old and bitter question. When Crazy Horse was mocked and asked where his lands now were, he is remembered to have replied that his lands were where his dead lie buried. The carved arm, sweeping over the hills, is a gesture toward that answer, an eternal pointing across the country his people have always called home. Look closely at the warrior's face, and you meet a quiet mystery. There is no known authentic photograph of Crazy Horse, for he is said to have refused ever to let his image be captured. So the face on the mountain is not a portrait of one man, but a symbol, a likeness meant to honor his spirit rather than copy his features. It gazes out over the hills with calm and pride, standing not for a single leader alone, but for the dignity of all Native American peoples. From the very beginning, the memorial has stood on its own. Twice, it is said, large sums of federal money were offered, and twice that money was refused. The founders believed the monument should belong to the people and remain free of government control, and so it has been funded instead by the admissions of its visitors and the gifts of its supporters. Every stage of the carving, slow as it is, has been paid for by those who simply believe in what it stands for. When the sculptor died, the work did not stop. His wife and children took up the mission, and a foundation was formed to carry it on, so that the carving has continued for generations under the same guiding vision. Progress is slow by design, advancing only as far as its funding allows, so that the mountain changes little from one year to the next. Yet across the decades, the shape has steadily emerged, each blast and each season bringing the warrior a little further out of the stone. Then came a milestone the founders never lived to see. In 1998, half a century after the first blast, the great face of Crazy Horse was completed and unveiled to the world at last. Standing over 80 feet tall, large enough that all four faces of Mount Rushmore could nestle within it, the finished visage now gazes out across the Black Hills. After 50 years of labor, the warrior finally had a face, and the mountain finally had its heart. The memorial is far more than a carving. At the foot of the mountain stands a Native American educational and cultural center, gathering the art, history, and traditions of many peoples under one roof. It was always meant to be a living place, not only to remember one warrior, but to celebrate and support Native culture into the future, offering learning and scholarship to new generations. In this way, the mountain gives back, honoring the living as much as the memory of the dead. And still today, the carving goes on. High on the mountain, the horse and the outstretched arm remain to be freed from the granite, a task that may take many more years to complete. There is no promised date of finishing, only the steady, patient work of shaping stone, season after season. To stand before it now is to witness something rare, a monument still in the making, its final form held within the mountain and slowly, faithfully being brought into the light. A mountain becoming a warrior, an arm reaching across a homeland, and a face carved to honor a whole people. Thank you for watching. Follow for more interesting people, places, and things we cover on the channel.